If Cameroon represents today half of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community's GDP, it's mainly due to policies promoting and developing various areas of its economy. From mining to industry, energy to telecommunication, agriculture to tourism. Services, specifically transportation and distribution, are also destined to undergo a great development. The continued growth of this rapidly diversifying economy requires the upgrading over the next decade of energy, transportation and telecommunication infrastructure projects. Cameroon's stable institutions, multiple human and natural resources, and ambitious development policies offer many opportunities for foreign investors eager to make the most of this privileged access to the African continent. Cameroon has the largest economy of French-speaking Central Africa and holds a strategic position with its coast along the Atlantic Ocean and a border shared with 6 countries. Cameroon's border stretches along 1,200 kilometers from the Atlantic coast in the south to Lake Chad in the north. Easily accessible by sea, air, and road, Cameroon has several ports, the most important of which is Douala and Limbe on the Gulf of Guinea. The port of Douala handles 95% of the country's foreign trade. It's the main entry and exit point of the country. The port's current capacity is, however, limited because of its shallow draft and its infrastructure still below global standards. In order to increase its exports capacity, the government is currently building in Kribi, to the south along the Atlantic coast, a new deep water port and industrial site able to handle ships with a capacity of 100,000 tons. This new port will be operational by 2013. This future ore export port will include an industrial area, container terminals, a gas liquefaction plant, and an aluminum plant. Cameroon is a 7-hour plane ride away from the main European capitals and is served by 20 African and European airlines. Cameroon's new national airline, Cameroon Airlines Corporation, helps meet the needs of steadily increasing air traffic. As for land transportation, the progressive extension and modernization of the road network is underway, with 6,000 kilometers out of 75,000 kilometers already asphalted. Twice as much asphalting is planned by 2025 in order to absorb the increase in industrial and trade activities, as well as open up secondary cities. A reliable road network will link the north to the south, from Douala to N'Djamena, capital of Chad, and from Douala to Bangui, capital of the Central African Republic. Extension of the rail network is also one of Cameroon's major projects. New rail routes are under study, some in conjunction with the mining projects. The dynamic development of infrastructure creates great investment opportunities, especially in 3 important areas: agriculture, industry, and mining. Due to its variety of soils and climates, Cameroon has a strong and diversified agriculture aimed to be exported. "75% of the population works in agriculture, and 70% of the country's foreign exchange earnings come from this sector of the economy, with still a very high potential for further development. Indeed, only 25% of available arable land is currently being farmed. The country is a major cocoa, wood, latex, peanuts, coffee, pepper, tea, cotton, palm oil, sugarcane, onion, rice, tobacco, soybeans, sorghum, citrus, and bananas producer. Proud of its agricultural potential, the government encourages investors to seize the opportunities offered by the high demand of African and global markets. Keen on increasing farmers' incomes, the government aims to develop through research higher-yielding crops resistant to both insects and droughts. This search for greater productivity has a positive impact on all the countries of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, of which Cameroon is the breadbasket. Today, among the 8 main products exported, 6 are agricultural: cotton, cocoa, bananas, rubber, and wood. Timber is another major resource from the soil and is the country's second agricultural export. Cameroon has 20 million hectares of primary forest, the second largest forest in Africa, and its government strongly encourages a sustainable management of this resource. This forest has 80 different types of tropical woods for all uses: carpentry, construction, or peeling. Along with agriculture, timber is strategic and accounts for 1/3 of Cameroon's incoming foreign currencies, making it the 3rd provider of foreign currency to the country. Due to the development of industrial carpentry, sawmills and plywood and veneer mills, the timber industry is in full growth and among one of the best areas to invest in.
Alors pour Camille, quelle est la tension sur ton électroband à l'heure actuelle?
Energy in any country is key to economic development, and Cameroon offers a very high return on investment. The country has a hydroelectric power potential estimated at 20,000 megawatts, while its current production is just over 700 megawatts, supplemented by thermal power plants using oil or gas. With the construction of several dams and electric power plants, among which the natural gas plant in Kribi, the government plans to triple the current electrical production by 2020. The newly discovered huge natural gas reserves, a major source of energy, is estimated at over 150 billion cubic meters and has a bright future. The government also encourages the development of oil exploration, especially in the north of the country and in the Douala Basin, where new oil fields have been discovered, bringing estimated reserves to 250 million barrels, while new refining facilities are increasing the capacity to process petroleum products. Legislation provides incentives for multinationals operating offshore oil fields and which produce 5 million tons a year. Thanks to this incentive, oil is now the country's #1 export. Production and distribution of drinking water is managed by CamWater, which operates and renews existing infrastructure. An ambitious project involving 50 towns is underway, aiming to supply drinking water to 50% of the population by 2015, up from 1/3 of the population. Industry in Cameroon now focuses on the transformation of two of its main resources, ores and agricultural products. Agricultural products account today for about 50% of industry and just as many investment opportunities for foreign companies. It's now developing semi-finished products such as beverages, dairy products, pasta, cigarettes, or palm oil. Cameroon is one of the main African brewers. Les Brasseries du Cameroun, a very large beer and soft drink producing company, is among Central Africa's largest industrial groups. A cash crop, sugar canes are also part of many large agricultural holdings. Cotton and rubber are used to make many processed agricultural products, such as textiles, oil, oilseeds, or rubber. As for the metal industry, it yields the largest turnover of the country's private companies. This is the case of aluminum producer Alucam, which plans on multiplying by 4 its production with the construction of an electrolysis unit in the new industrial site of Kribi. Cameroon is endowed with a soil which has about 50 different ores, largely untapped. Products such as metals, precious stones, or construction material can be found in the country's subsoil. These mining resources were at an exploratory stage for a long time, but mining is now underway and on the path to industrialization. Operations of some deposits, mainly iron ore and bauxite, already show a strong investment potential. Official gold production is 200 kilograms a year. Still a small-scale production, it should reach 10 tons a year in 5 years. Facing an ever-increasing global demand for raw material, ores will most certainly become a very promising source of investment, especially since the country's mining code gives more freedom to private investors. The mining sector is therefore essential to Cameroon's growth, as shown by the many projects to be completed in the next 10 years. Tourism in Cameroon offers many opportunities for growth, as the country is characterized by its great geographical, ethnical, and cultural diversity. When traveling across Cameroon, one can discover all of Africa's landscapes: tropical rainforests, volcanic scenery and craters, lakes and waterfalls, deserted sandy beaches with palm trees, various plantations, and sweeping green hills. Cameroon is a miniature Africa, with the savanna and lunar landscapes in the north, kilometers of the untamed lush coast of the Gulf of Guinea, and Mount Cameroon rising at 4,000 meters. Cameroon is at the heart of biodiversity. In order to protect the generous nature, a haven for a wonderfully diverse wildlife and flora, the government created many national parks and wildlife reserves in the country's different regions. It has also taken action to protect wildlife and to stop the poachers which threaten elephants, gorillas, and apes. In tune with its biodiversity, the country offers an exceptional cultural wealth. Cameroon is a cultural patchwork with 250 different ethnic groups and as many languages and dialects besides the official French and English languages. Each ethnic group has a unique cultural background that contributes to the country's diversity, not only with regards to culinary traditions, but also arts and crafts, housing, and other customs. Music and traditional celebrations are different in each region and draw their inspiration from folk culture and imagination. Cameroon is one of the brightest and oldest sources of African art. Arts and crafts can easily be found in cities and are no longer found only in the more traditional rural parts of the country.